Oh no, wait.
Huh.
What? Where's the intro video? No, I was in
Uh-oh.
the wrong folder. Oh no. Oh no, we're recording. My dad's
Oh.
gonna post this part. Oh no. Here we
Can we
go.
end it?
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Okay.
I found it.
Fair
Hello everybody,
enough.
welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzy. She's back from
Hello.
Japan.
Back from Japan. And I already miss it.
Yes. And we are here to talk about Star Wars. There's been a lot of Star Wars. We have many things to podcast about. But today we're going to do, because I want to get it done for the new episodes come out, Andor episodes 4 through 6.
Yeah.
Yippee.
I'm like, I already loved Andor, and I think it was like my favorite, well, besides Rebels, of course. It's like my favorite show. And now I'm like, oh my god. It just gets better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's been incredible. This second season so far, and episodes 4 through 6 were phenomenal. Really excited to see what they're building to, which comes out tomorrow.
yes.
It's very exciting. So, what are your spoiler-free thoughts in the last 3 episodes?
In the last 3 episodes, spoiler free. Nothing. It's just an amazing show, and like even in the last season we were like, man, like that's like so cool, and it's like kind of Andor's like kind of deep, and I was honestly wondering how deep the second season was gonna go, and then it like dove straight into like not even the deep end of a pool, just like the ocean. um
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know, I really love it, and I just, again, a lot of things that I want to happen in this show, so that gives it like extra points. I think it's a great show that everyone could get into fairly easily, just because it's like still just an entertaining show on its own, and I'm happy, very content.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, I mean, I think I really enjoy. I think personally, I enjoyed the structure of the first season more, but
Hmm.
I'm loving the moments we're getting across these episodes and the story that they're building to.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, I mean, just like season 1, drawing really strong parallels. I mean, Tony Gilroy is a historian, drawing really strong parallels to real life history, and history is cyclical. So
Hmm.
to today, um, and it's really fascinating. I think Star Wars, since A New Hope, has pulled from real history, and just through the nature of Andor being more of like a political thriller, a spy thriller, especially this current season. Getting to really like get into the nitty gritty of that has been really fun. And there's so many moving parts too. This show's a big cast of characters,
Hmm.
and you know it weaves them all together so deftly, right? Where it's like everything impacts each other, and there's all these moving parts happening, so it's all building towards the same end goal. And I think it's done really well, and I think they create really great tension, right? I talked about this for episodes 1 through 3, and I felt the same in episodes 4 through 6, where you can have one character is at a party, and that feels just as intense as a character at a shootout because of the stakes that they've built and how well they sell you on the weight of everything. And it's, yeah, I'm really excited to see these last 2 arcs after this as well. But the arc we just got was laid a lot of groundwork, and I enjoyed it a lot. It's so intense and so much fun to watch, and it's like you said, it's accessible. Like it's a show you can watch, having frankly probably not seen any other Star Wars, and still be pretty much just as invested. But it does also like it does reward you with smaller references and things if you're a fan of all these other things. Whether it's a character showing up, a reference to another event or something. And I think that's really fun. I enjoy that balance. It's a hard balance to strike, but I think Andor does it really well.
Yes. I'm just so happy it's here.
That too. Yes, I guess we can talk kind of spoilers a little bit. So the first episode of the last batch, episode 4, if you've ever been to Gorman, we're catching up with everyone a year after the opening. So you have Cassian and Bix, who are in like a kind of like a safe house, both working for Luthen. We have Mothma, who's trying to like raise awareness for Gorman, basically, and talking to the Southerners, like, look, like, we gotta talk about this, like, we can do something about this. And no one's vibing with her for that. Cyril, I loved Cyril's bits these episodes. So fascinating. He is such an interesting character.
Yeah.
In these past couple episodes. And he's not, the thing is, like, he's not a character I like really at all. He's just a weird little guy. I know there are Cyril fans, so I'm sorry. I don't like him. I don't like him, but I enjoy him. When he's on my screen, I'm locked in. I enjoy it very much. He's so fascinating. He's so weird. He's so weird, and I love watching him. He's like 500 car crashes happening back to back.
Oh.
I'm kind of obsessed with everything he's doing this season. He's fascinating. The Danger tied up in that. And we get a little Saw Gerrera in these episodes too.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. Terrifying, but like really cool. I honestly, like, not to go all the way back, but just like there's so much going on in Andor. Like, I even texted you, like, I need a chart because, like,
yeah, I didn't know what you meant by that. I don't know what that chart looks like.
Like, honestly, just the chart, like there's like 3 main things kind of going on, like Mon, Cassian, what he's doing, Gorman, like that's kind of it. Just like a little tree of like things that are happening, because I feel like I'm just too dumb. Like, I don't know. I personally, I've just a little overwhelmed, which is good because there's just so much content here and it's all really good. I just I'm a little dumb, and sometimes I literally have to like rewind and be like, what happened?
I don't know if this is dumb. I don't know if it's about you being dumb. I think Andor is dense. I don't think it helped that you watched, because you watched 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Once. I don't think that helped you.
No.
Because it is a very dense show. Like you said, it's like, and I think Andor is a masterclass of writing to me, where like not a moment is wasted.
Yeah.
Like,
which I love.
I've been rewatching season 1 as well while this is airing. And I didn't even remember, like, they were mentioning, like, the Maya Pei Brigade and Gorman and the Gorman Front back in the first, like, couple of episodes of Andor, like, in the first half of the show. They're bringing up this stuff that becomes relevant later. And I think that's part of what makes Andor so good and so rewarding to watch is it's a big puzzle that fits all together. Like, everything counts. That doesn't mean you don't have fun, rewatching it, I forgot how funny Andor is as well in season 1. It's not what it's known for, but there's a lot of comedy, especially in the first couple episodes. Yeah. And so it's still fun. I mean, the first couple episodes of this season were very funny. Sometimes they were not funny. But it's so good. Yeah. What a show.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I just like I have a little hard time keeping up, but just rewatching and like going back, it's better for me. And then just Deidre and Cyril, I can't. It's like okay, this is how I imagine like major minimalist millennial influencers like act like when they're together and like the camera is not on. Like that's just kind of what it's giving, and it's
They're
so
so weird.
awkward. It's great. Like even the part where like he like comes home from Gorm and he like goes in to try to like kind of kiss her, but then like kind of doesn't and then like gives her a kiss on the cheek.
She just like stands there stone faced. What
Like
are you
it's
doing?
such an awkward relationship, but I love it because it's just like I can't imagine Cyril or her with like a normal person.
They're so weird. Yeah, and their
It's
dynamic
so
is really
funny.
interesting too, because like there is a level of care there. Like we see that
Yes.
from Daedra, like when she talks to his mom. But it's also like it's so sterile and cold. Like it's so weird. And I think especially like that was there in the first couple episodes, but especially this last crop of episodes, like we get 3 couples who we get to, share these really intimate moments with them, Bix and Cassian and Vinta, Vel and Cinta. And it's like, especially when it's like you go to them and they're weird little, and he's like, how long do I have to just turn the lights off?
Yeah, it was just like, okay, damn.
They're crazy. But then you cut to like Vix and Cassie and having these really like sweet, intimate moments that are normal. Like, and they're normal people. Oh my god. Yeah, they're insane. I'm really interested to see though. This is not going to be a recap. We're not recapping anything in order. We're just yapping. But
that's fine.
Who cares? If you've seen the episodes, if you're here. But I think really interested to see, because like I said, like I think Daedra does care about him. I think that's not the whole foundation of their relationship for sure, but that's there. It's present. But at the same time, like she, like we saw in season 1, she's almost like Imperial Luthen or Imperial Saw, right? Where the cause comes first. And so I'm interested to see, like, a lot of people are going to die in episode 7 through 9, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of people are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if, like, the way she's, kind of using Cyril for these goals, which he's into. He's having a great time. He's had his best day of his life. So,
yeah.
Okay. But, like, I wonder, like, if it comes down to it, is he on the table to be sacrificed, like the same way Luthen is it willing to sacrifice Gorman? Is she willing to sacrifice Cyril? And I'm curious to see how that goes next week and what's on the table for her. And yeah, and he's I want to say Kyle Soller, what an actor. He's killing it as Cyril.
What was so strange though, when you were saying she's like, turn off the lights, and like, and he says, he's like, you had someone follow me, and he makes it seem like it's some sexy thing that she did, and I'm like, stop.
They're so weird. They're so weird. And oh my gosh, and it was hanging on them in the dark for like it felt like 5 minutes. It wasn't, but it felt like a long
I
time.
honest
And
to
I was
God
like,
feel like they just stared at each other.
No, literally, I was like, is this gonna
Like-
be a scene? I don't really want to watch this.
Right?
Not with these characters. I don't want to know.
Nah.
Like, they keep the lights off. You know what? That's probably better for everybody.
Yeah. There was something I was gonna say. Oh, so Cassian, like, kind of going on the Gorm thing, like where he's like undercover and he's. Can I just say Cassian's so cool? Like, obviously we're supposed to be like, no, Cassian, like they want to fight and they're just like they're rushing and blah blah blah. But I'm like, he's so right. And like even in the last 3 episodes where he's like literally leading kind of like these 2 groups of rebels. Well, it's supposed to be, I guess. And they're fighting each other and he's like leading them and he's like, are you guys stupid? Like, I love that. And then in this episode when he sits down, first of all, okay, when he's being given like his assignment and they're like, you're a fashion designer, and I was like, please, what is this man gonna look at him? He does not look like a fashion designer. And then he gets to the planet and I was like, oh,
those fancy
wow.
So fancy, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, I mean, the whole point of this show is showing us Cassian's journey into this leader that he is in Rogue One. And so it has been really interesting to see, going from the beginning of Andor where he's just like, kind of a little bit of a rat man who owes everybody money and kind of like, is able to worm his way out of trouble. Yeah. To but also has all the ladies. He had all the ladies, all his girlfriends, as Marva said. But he into this leader, who's trying to both inspire but also caution people into joining this fight. Although I don't know if I think the show wants us to want the Gorman to fight. I don't know if that's what the show's trying to say. Personally, I more read it as like the show is like, yeah, Cassian is right, like, about them. We see that with episode 6 and with Vel and Cinta and how that mission goes. But I think, like, we know things are gonna go bad because of Rebels. We know a bit of what's gonna happen in the next episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it's not gonna go well. But it's also like, I think, like, if you look at it from Luthen's point of view, it's like, yeah, they're not ready. They suck at fighting. It's not gonna go well. But this might be the sacrifice that makes the galaxy better. And is it worth it? Is it worth sacrificing these people and this planet for the galaxy? Like, is that fair? Is that the decision they have the right to make? And that's like the moral question of it all. And I don't know the answer. I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
I mostly just meant that they kind of suck. But also,
yes,
it's like, you're right. There is a sacrifice to it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's interesting, and I think it's a quandary, that we had, if it's in season 1 as well, with, I mean, in season 1, it was more like sacrificing the, I can't remember the name, but the one rebel, like, brigade, and letting them die, even though they could have saved them, to let the Empire feel like they're winning. And here it's, sacrificing the rebels, but sacrificing the rebels on Gorman means sacrificing the planet and all those innocent lives lost who aren't volunteering to fight the way the Gorman rebels are. And so it's like this interesting, like, yeah, the sacrifice would help the rebellion, but like at what point, like, how do you weigh that cost, and how do you, as an outsider who's not going to be personally affected, make that, like, you're the one making that choice to do that? That's where it gets really interesting and gray. And I love that Andor's getting to kind of explore that gray area a little bit. Because, like, Luthen's not Gorman. Who is he to say, yeah, it's a worthy sacrifice, for the rebellion? I don't think the people of Gorman would agree with that. So, yeah, it's interesting to see.
It's rough.
This.
Also, the fact that Tarkin landed a ship on people.
Yeah, well, that's interesting too, because that was what the Gorman Massacre was in Legends.
Oh, cool.
In Legends, the Gorman Massacre was Tarkin landed his ship, and then that made Mon Mothma speak out. And then in Rebels, they're like, "Oh, we have to help Mon Mothma flee because she spoke out after the Gorman Massacre." And people just kind of assumed it was that from Legends. So it's really interesting that now it's like, no, there were 2 Gorman massacres. Like, these poor people, man.
Yeah, for real.
Gormans. Poor
yeah,
space Grant. Get a break.
I love Mothma in this. Like, obviously, I loved her all the time. But her fight, like, arguing with Krennic is so crazy.
That was... Honestly, that scene was so intense, by the way. I was like sweating. Like, Claire tried to keep, like, this little bug out, and I was like sweating. I was like, oh my god, like, he's gonna see you. Like, oh my god.
I was like, oh my god, she's bleeding. What if the blood, like, gets on the floor and they find out?
But it's like, what was really funny to me was like, because, you know, like, they were in there, and the only person that knew she was doing that was, whatever his name is. His name like what, like Yanni or something?
Yeah, it was like Lonnie, something like that.
It's like Lonnie Young, that's his name.
Yeah.
But it's like, but the only people who know she's like doing that is him and Luthen. And so, you know, Luthen was like, you know, prepping one of those Luthen monologues, like trying to get ready, like, okay, what do I say? How can I stall these people from noticing? Need to make sure Krennic doesn't turn around. And then Mothma's just like, she doesn't even know what's happening. She doesn't know she's stalling. She doesn't know she's helping, but she's just arguing for the love of the game.
Yes, pretty much.
Gotta respect that.
That was good. I just liked, honestly, like, Krennic scares me, right? But
he's so scary, and he's this like truly deeply evil person. But he's also being a little silly.
I just loved every time he was like, this is such a marvelous party. This party is amazing, guys. Oh my god.
Ben Mendelsohn's really having so much fun with Krennic, and I'm having fun with him because he's just. It turns out spiders are not the only interesting thing on Gorman. He's so funny.
Yes, he's silly.
He's so, very silly, and it's like, no, I gotta remember. He's responsible for the Death Star. I gotta remember this. But he's also just like kind of funny and silly. He's a little. I think Ben Mendelsohn described him as fruity, and that's very much the energy.
Interesting wording, but sure, yes.
Well, he said in an interview too. I don't know if you've seen this. I've gotten so many TikTok edits because he was in a little press interview for Andor, and someone was like, "Who should people edit? What songs should people edit Krennic to this season?" He said, "Obviously, WAP." So I've been getting all of these edits of Krennic to WAP, and they're iconic.
What?
They're iconic.
Interesting.
You're not on Andor TikTok like I am.
I'm really not. The only things I've been getting is like Sabrina Carpenter weird edits, and I've just been sending them to you because I don't know what to do with them.
I'll send you the Krennic WAP edits.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. There's something I was gonna say. Oh, I liked when you know, Andor comes back for Gorman, and then is like is with Bix. And first of all, Bix is taking drugs? Like, what?
Listen, she
I know she went through a lot. Yes.
She's been through the ringer, all right?
I am so aware. I'm not like I don't understand why, but I'm just like, I did it. Like, this show is so cool and interesting. Yeah. I was just like, wow, all right, we're doing drugs now. Amazing.
To be fair, she's not like, I don't know. Like, she's not going on benders necessarily. Yeah, she's like, no. Like, when she says, it's like, help me sleep to Luthen, that's basically what we see. doesn't mean it's fantastic. Like Luthen said, like, you gotta be careful, like, becoming dependent on these. She's not doesn't even at that point yet. But she's and she's another character I really am looking forward to in the second half of this season. Because across season 1 and the first arc of this season, she's been like really put through the ringer. And in this episode, she's besides the one time they go grocery shopping, she doesn't go outside. Like, when Luthen stops over, like she's like sleeping on the floor watching like trash TV. And it's relatable and
those two hosts are so silly though.
Yes. But it's it's relatable and it's understandable. She's dealing with this. But I'm definitely interested in seeing her get to be a more proactive character in the second half of the series. And it'll be really fun to see that. We see that like the beginning of that, right, where she gets her. I know revenge, dark path, dangerous way to walk, can lead you, to some bad stuff, and you gotta be careful. And blah blah blah. Yeah, I know The Last of Us, revenge, not great, but felt really good.
Again, this is a show where I'm
revenge.
like,
that's given what you got.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys did talk about it, but like, what? Like, she's about to get raped? Like, what? Like, like, in the media, there's not really much like that. Or like, I mean, like in like the shows, the movies and such. I don't know if there is in books. I'll leave that to you and Dad.
Not particularly. I mean, I think the thing is, like, it is very present in other media. Like, Clone Wars has a lot of it. Return of the Jedi has it. It just wasn't really, like, named before.
Yeah. It wasn't just flat out, like, hey. Like, So, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. Well, not cool. But, like, you know what? Like, you know what I mean? It was just interesting. And, so many different things going on in this show. And then, like, later, we see the doctor and stuff, and I was like, oh, I hope that guy dies. And then there it was. It was like she was standing there and just picture perfect. And he had a little snack. Now he'll never eat that little snack.
I kind of wish he took the snack. It looked yummy. It should have been eaten.
Nah. It was touched by disgustingness.
He didn't touch it.
He touched the box.
Okay, that's fair.
But I did love that. That was good. And then I love Cassian supporting her through it. That just made it like... obviously, it was already great, but it was just like... I love that Cassian was there for her and supported her through it and was like... she was like, I want to do it. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and
so I'm hoping she'll sleep better.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that sets up... going forward, like I said, her being getting to be more of a proactive character, because up to this point, she's most frequently been a character that things happen to, and it's I want her to be a character that does things again. You know what I mean? Like she was in the first couple episodes of season 1. Like I want her to be an active part of the narrative versus more passive. And I'm looking forward to that for her. And seeing where she goes with that. It's really interesting. And then also her and Cassian's relationship is very sweet. Like you talked about him supporting her there, but even just throughout the 3 episodes, he's very supportive of her. He makes her dinner. When Cassian was cooking, I was like, oh, Lizzie's gonna love this.
I was so mad though, because I was like, Bix, move your elbow. I want to see what it is. That was the only thing, is I wanted to see what it was, but I'm sure Star Wars might be like, hey, here's what
I know the cast was posting. I know the cast was posting pictures of the food from the cafe on Gorman.
Yeah.
So maybe Diego Luna and Adria Jorna will post what they were making, what they were having.
I hope so.
I like when they went to the little bodega too. There was like a bodega cat in the back. So cute. So silly.
Very silly. The not silly part was on Gorm. Gorman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting what's so happening with Gorman because it's like there's so like it's every character's getting tied to it almost. Like you have, Cyril, who is sent there by Daedra to try and get in with the Gorman front, and so he's like kind of like he's like pretending to like be with them, but then he's like reporting back and like trying to like stoke the flames a little bit. And then you have Cassian who's sent there, and Cassian's like, these guys aren't ready. And Luthen goes, perfect. If they all die, that'll support our cause. Like people, and then you have Valencinta sent there, and they were so. I know we'll talk about it later, but their scene in the cafe was so cute. And then later when they're just like hanging out, oh, they're so cute. But then you have Valencinta were sent there to be like the experienced operatives, like helping them run this mission, and the Gorman are like, you can't tell us what to do. And that's literally why you asked us to come, so we could tell you what to do. And so you have that going on, and then Mon Mothma's trying to advocate for Gorman from Coruscant, and, like use her resources. And it's all gonna explode tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm so mad at the Gorman kid. Because first of all,
bro, you weren't even supposed to have a blaster.
That's what I was saying. He literally was like, dude, like would it have gone bad still? Maybe. Like the guy was still gonna try to ruin it, or he wanted to see what was happening. I'm not even sure what that guy was trying to do.
I think that guy wanted to know what was going on because he was the one in the meeting who was the most vocal anti-Empire. I don't think he was gonna like ruin it, like report them or anything.
I know, but I'm like, why are you being a jerk? Like I don't like he was just I don't know shoving him. I don't know, whatever. I was just like, okay.
Then the Gorman kid, who again wasn't supposed to have one, escalated it. Like that guy got the most anger after you pulled a blaster on him.
Yeah, and then they started fighting, and I was like, okay, like whatever. It was one shot, doesn't even matter. Apparently it did. Apparently one of
it was crazy too is like when Valencinta had that really like intimate scene, I was like and then the next scene is Mothma with Luthen and she's like asking about Vel. I was like, oh, Vel's gonna die. Like that's what they're doing. That's what they're building to. Oh my
It's God. So funny when Luthen was like, why? You need to tell her something important? And Mothma's like, yeah, I care about her.
She's like, cousin, what are you talking about? Yeah. And that, not to go off on another tangent, but that Luthen's, I feel like that's such a good look into Luthen these episodes too. Because it's like he's, we have that moment with Mothma where he like forgets that people care about people, and he's like trying to push Cassian into being focused more on the rebellion than he is right now and not as much on Bix. But then you also have him get like losing his mind when Skolden is going to potentially find that bug.
Yeah.
That they put.
Love his assistant. I forget her name, but she's really
so
keeps him down.
Yeah. She low key, I feel like she's kind of running things more than him. Like sure, like he's like in charge, but like she's like doing it.
Yeah. I love every time she's seen with like all the radios and stuff because it's just so cool. And it doesn't say like obviously I wouldn't know how to touch that even in real life if there was something like that. There's no like words, letters, nothing. Like she just like knows, and it's so cool. I don't know, like it just looks really cool.
But like they have all these moments of Luthen, but then you also have like he was like really sweet when he came in and checked on Bix. He like had a mission for her, and then he was like, she can't handle this. Yeah. And he's like, being like, oh, these drugs aren't good for you, and like kind of checking in on her. And it's like that was like a really like sweet moment in my opinion. You know, and then you also have like one of my favorite scenes was him when he and Clay are walking away from that party, and they're just
Oh my God,
so
yes.
cute. They're just so cute. Like they're little like, you know, just kind of giggling and like
he's like, man, should have killed Krennic while we were in there.
Loki,
That was so cute.
realest thing anyone's ever said in Star Wars.
Yes. This is Tales of the Underworld. Never mind. All right, yes. But that was super cute. What else?
I enjoyed that scene a lot. I'm loving their dynamic, and I'm gonna be so sad when one or both of them die.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah.
What was I talking about though? Oh yeah, Vel dead. Bro, I was like, I literally thought Vel was gonna die, and then the blaster shot went off, and Vel was fine. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. Then Cinta. That was okay. I do have one criticism of Andor, and that is Cinta Kaz. I feel like didn't get to be a character this season. Like she existed as a plot device for Vel.
Yes.
But she didn't get to like be a character on her own, you know, the way that every other character does. And I'm being like so genuine here, like, kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like she's so interesting in season 1, and she was a character especially I was looking forward to in season 2, and she barely exists, and she only exists for Vel and her character development, and then she dies. It's like, all right.
No, that's fair.
Especially, and I'm not the only person to have pointed this out, but especially the pattern of colorism in Andor and how darker skinned characters tend to die a lot more than the lighter skinned characters. That's my one criticism of Andor, is I wish Cinta Kaz got to be more of a character this season.
No, that's very fair. I thought it was funny though when I was what's that guy's name? Like one of Mothma's like was a friend,
Erskine?
but then like
Take Homa.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't know if that was like I felt like he was kind of threatening her, right? Like I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was 100% threatening her.
Okay, cool. Because I was like
not like physically, but like
yeah, because he was like, well, I did all these things for you and now I have no money and blah blah blah. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, man, I hope this guy dies. And then Luthen was like, do you want me to take care of it? And Mom was like, no, like we'll figure it out. I'll have a meeting with him. And I was like, oh man, he's not gonna die. And then we see Cinta as his driver, and I was like, ooh, I'm so happy. I get to see Cinta, and this guy's gonna die.
In the words of Chapel Roan, she gets the job done.
I loved it. It was so funny.
Yeah, dude, when Cinta shows up, so you know someone's dying.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
So, but yeah, I do understand it did suck. Like she was there for barely an episode and then she's, you know, already gone. And then there was like so much stuff that she kept being like, oh, I'll tell you later. And I was just like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, she's such an interesting character, and I think, like, for me, it's also, like, the fact that, like, every other character is getting these, like, huge arcs, and we're exploring who they are and stuff, and then Cinta, like, just doesn't get that. It sucks.
Yeah.
You know? Because she's a character I was one of my favorites from season 1. And I was looking forward to
it honestly
arc,
sucked how she died, too.
Yeah, and it's like that death itself didn't bother me. Like I think that shows, you know, like at this point the rebellion is still somewhat fractured. Like I don't think Chopper Base has been established yet at this point, or it's barely been established. Like that the rebellion is very fractured, and it's, you know, that was a microcosm of like, this is why you need to communicate and listen, especially when you put it up against the Empire, who, you know, some of the lower level people squabble a little bit, but like when it comes down to it, if an Imperial officer tells an Imperial officer, go do that, they do it. And the rebels are doing that. And that's kind of going to be their downfall at this point. Not, obviously they win in the end. So it's interesting to see that. And I think that, like, that being the death, I think was the perfect writing choice because it was so unfair. You know, like I think Vel's monologue was gorgeous. It was so good. and Faye Marseille's delivery was fantastic on that, and but it was, again, it's like I don't think Cinda's death would bother me if she got to like be a character and have an arc like everybody else. Like even Brasso was so heavily featured in the first 3 episodes before he died, and he got to have, we got to like really explore him.
That part was a little too funny though, because I was like, they're shooting at him. I was like, it's stormtroopers. And then there was one that looked like he was taking his time, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Wait.
Not
no.
good. But like Brasso got so much focus those 3 episodes, and we got to see him like his role in this community and how he comforts people and how he stands up for people, and Jacinta didn't get that. She got
wife question mark.
And like she goes like, yeah, but Cinta was like in like 2 shots at the very end of episode 3. She had the scene in the cafe with Vel, and then this mission. Like that was it.
Yeah.
It kind of, I didn't love it. Like as a writing choice. I wish she'd gotten the same care that other characters had. But like as like the death itself, I think was really well done.
Got it. I don't know nothing about writing. I'm just sad.
That too. It was so, yeah, it was really sad. But again, Faye's Marseille's monologue was so good.
I liked her kind of like, not even, I like how she looked like she was dealing with it, at least in front of them. Because like it wasn't like she was like, it's all your fault, like blah, blah, blah. Like she did, but it was like, it wasn't in a way of like, I don't know, like it wasn't like she was gonna kill this kid, it was just,
it was pure rage, but she's also like, she's a measured person, she's a regulated person, and so she's able to channel that into something useful. See how easy that is, Anakin Skywalker?
For real.
No, just kidding. But yeah, like it's, and I think that's kind of what we're getting from Andor as well, is like, you can be, and I think we're seeing that with Gorman too, the people on Gorman's, like you can be angry righteously, and you can have all these feelings and these wants and what you want to do, but if you're just going to stew in it, or if you're going to let it control you and not turn it into something productive and helpful, then get out of the way. So people who know what they're doing can handle it. I think that's what we're seeing with this arc. And I think like Vel was such a good like little like refraction of that. So good. And what else? Oh yeah, we were gonna talk about the Saw stuff. First of all, his base is on Dakar, which is cool. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, he scares me.
We also got to see the Two Tubes brothers and
that was cool.
And all my little guys, I had a hit tweet on Twitter because everyone says Andor doesn't do glup shittos, but you would only say that if you're not a real glup head,
Don't do what?
Us real glup heads, we don't need, to see Cad Bane. We get excited off of Two Tubes and Erskine Samaj and Ruskat Melshi. If only if you're a real glup head like me. Like fake glup heads. I shit out harder than any of you. I'm a real glup shitter.
Okay. I'm sure Dad and a few others understand what that means.
You don't know
I know Two Tubes. No, I know Two Tubes, and the guy, well, I don't know his name, but I've seen the white long-haired guy. I think he's look cool. He looks cool.
I love him.
He looks like a cool dude.
I'll explain glup shittos to you.
Please.
Afterwards.
Oh.
I'll explain glup shittos later.
Okay.
Maybe you don't know. Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, that was. So wait, is that Bix's brother, or I can't remember?
No, remember in season 1, there's that guy the like dad who's working with Bix, and he's like in contact-ish with Luthen too. Like he like
Is that the
like, remember
kid?
Bix? Yes, it's the kid. That's Wilmot.
Wow.
You remember he had his little hoodie.
He's all grown.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's Will. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because remember they were the ones on the ship at the end when they're leaving Ferrex.
He's grown. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
didn't
he's
even
with Saw
recognize
now.
him.
So Saw is this like fuel extractor thing. They're like stealing fuel, rhydonium
Mm-hmm.
from the Empire. It's a good mission, you know. Ghost Crew did a lot of that. Need fuel to survive. You know, it's Saw Gerrera is such an interesting character, and I enjoy him a lot. He fascinates me, and it's really nice when he's like, you know, when he's doing a good mission. Like, yes, go blow up that Imperial military base. Go steal some fuel. Don't massacre civilians. Don't try to genocide the Geonosians. We don't got to do that. But like, yeah, steal some Kyber. Let's that good job, Saw. Let's do that. Let's stick to that. Yeah, he was so interesting. I think Saw. I was thinking about this today when I was driving to work. I think Saw is interesting because interesting for a lot of reasons. But I think what we're seeing in Rogue One is that he kind of in Andor is that he kind of like amplifies some of the flaws of characters like Luthen or Mon Mothma. Like he's a vital part of the rebellion. Like he's one of the first to violently resist, and that's really inspirational for a lot of people. And he's really good at inspiring people to fight. But he's also a bit of a cautionary tale in a sense of like he is very willing to sacrifice his morals, and you need a little bit of that. You can't. What we're seeing in Andor is you can't be an idealist, right? Like you have to make tough choices and sacrifices and do things that are wrong to do something that's good in the end, like we see with Mon and Leda or Luthen and the Gormans. But like you get to Saw, I mean, we're bringing in extracurricular media too, Andor. You bring in like when he's in Rebels and he's like, Geonosis, the Geonosians, they built the Death Star, ignoring the fact that they were slave labor. We gotta finish the genocide and destroy the last egg. And it's like, at what point do you go too far? And then at the same time, I think he's also, for Luthen specifically, he's a cautionary tale in paranoia, where like, in what they're doing, they need to be a little bit paranoid and very cautious. But there's also, as we saw with Vel and Cinta, there's a point where you have to trust, or it all falls apart. And we've seen this a lot in this season, where like, and in season 1, like, the reason Mothma is able to do so much more funding to the rebellion is because she trusts Take-Homa up to the point when she starts threatening her. But like the Maya Pay Brigade, they would have been fine if like Cassian would have helped them all get off. They might not have all gone on the same trip, but because they didn't trust each other to lead, to come back for them, it all fell apart. Vel and Cinta and the Gormans, that guy didn't trust Vel and Cinta, took his own blaster, and it almost destroyed the mission, and it caused Cinta's death. And I think Saw is, as we see, when we get to it by Rogue One, like he's become so paranoid. And I think Luthen's a very paranoid character, and I think he needs to learn not, to have that trust and not let it fall apart. Because I was thinking about Rogue One, like when Bodhi Rook went to Saw Gerrera, if Saw had listened to him, so many of the partisans would have been saved. They could have saved a lot of people from Jedha City if Saw just, because Bodhi was telling the truth. If Saw just listened to Bodhi, things could have gone a lot better. But because he didn't, because he was like, nah, hook him up to the Bor Gullet, the holy city was destroyed. I mean, that's not why, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's so interesting. And especially like this dichotomy of like Luthen, sees Bix using these sleeping drugs, and he's like, you gotta be really careful with these. And then you have Saul, who's like, yeah, huff the gas with me. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Like, but oh my god, that monologue was so good too. Not to, water is wet. Andor had a good monologue, but his whole Rhydonium speech, like you can see, like, as I said, as much as Saul is a very complicated character and he can be wrong a lot of the times, he's so good at inspiring people. Like he's really good at stoking that righteous anger, and pointing it in the right direction. It's just in what do you do with it? And in Rebels, when Kanan says, how we fight is, I can't remember the exact quote, but he says like how we fight is just as important as what you fight, or something like that. That wasn't the quote, but you remember, what I'm talking about. Like I think, that comes to play, and it's so interesting. Oh my gosh, I love this show. It gives me so much to talk about.
Scares me.
I think sometimes I feel like I watch a show and I'm like, oh, that was great, cool. And Andor is like, there's so much to think about and to talk about. There's all these layers, and it's like, as much as Andor I think stands on its own, I know plenty of people who watch Andor with little knowledge of other Star Wars stuff, or like they've only seen the movies, or they've literally only seen Andor, and they still love and appreciate it. It also does like interact really well with other Star Wars media. Like it, especially this season, meshes so well with Rebels, both like thematically, and with the character arcs, but also with like references like Erskine Samaj being in these episodes, which I loved the scenes of him like following around Mon Mothma, and they're trying to like do their little business on Coruscant. I love them, little besties. Mon Mothma, I'm so glad she has him now. She was so alone in season 1. It was like really depressing. So I'm glad she has a little friend we know is going to go with her in Rebels.
And hopefully doesn't like backstab her.
Well, he doesn't in Rebels, so he makes it that far at least.
Yes.
But sorry, I think I'm all over the place and I'm talking too much. But like,
no.
And Mon, I'm really excited for too. Like, we know the Gorman massacre is what gets her to speak out her most publicly against Palpatine, and that's what makes her have to flee and get to Yavin with the Ghost Crew. But we also like the Mon Mothma we see in Rebels. Yeah, I was thinking about it today. She thinks like Luthen a lot of the time. Like in 0 Hour, Ezra calls her for help, and when Adelon is being attacked, and she says no, not because they don't have the resources to help, because she doesn't want the Empire to know they have the resources to help, and she's willing to potentially, obviously it works out in the end, but she's willing to potentially sacrifice the people on Chopper Base to preserve the rebellion as a whole. Like, that's a Luthen way of thinking, and somewhere where she definitely wasn't in season 1, and I think she's still getting there in season 2, and I'm really interested to see how she gets to that point, and like what gets her there, because like I don't know, I was thinking about it today. It's like, dude, she's willing to sacrifice the people on Chopper Base. That includes, to what to her knowledge are the last 2 survivors of the Jedi genocide and the last survivor of the Lasat genocide. And she's willing to make that tactical choice and say, if this is what preserves the rebellion, we got to do it. And again, that's very Luthen of her. And I'm excited to see her begin to evolve into that, because right now, like, she's still an important figure in the rebellion. She's doing a lot of the networking, obviously the financing. She's providing this cover to the rebellion. She has a stone in her hand, hiding the knife to their throat. And it's like, it'll be interesting to see her evolve away from this public facing kind of thing she's doing and becoming this kind of like private, like, military leader. I'm excited. I'm so excited for her. I'm so excited for everybody.
I love all her outfits.
Vel, I mean, Vel was always a very righteously angry character from the first episode we met her in episode 4 last season. And I think they just amplified that rage. I like, with what happened to Cinta. And as much as I am not crazy about, Cinta being kind of reduced to fodder for Belle's arc, I'm excited to see where Belle's arc goes following this.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of thinking about it. It just seems obviously like Cassian likes, this is not about Vel, but like likes Bix a lot. Like really, really, really cares about her. And I was kind of thinking about it in Rogue One because obviously we don't really know what happens to Bix during that. I don't want to assume anything, but but I'm like, I don't know. That didn't seem great.
Going doom.
So, later in Rogue One, because everyone's like, OMG, Cassian and Jin, but like, I now like I wasn't really thinking that they were like cute together or anything before. I didn't really ship it that hard. I was just like, oh, that's kind of cute, but like, eh. Like with Bix now, I'm just kind of like, yeah, no, I think Cassian, like the hug at the end was like just a genuine hug. I don't think there was anything romantic or anything there.
I know there's a lot
And
of
like,
Rebel Captain shippers out there.
yeah, so now I'm just like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, ship I was super into, and I think especially with Bix, but also like, I don't know, I would love for Bix to survive. And you never know, everyone.
She could be doing something else in the rebellion,
everyone's like, Kane and Ezra have to die, and that wasn't true all the way.
Fully.
It's half true.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna be the one that's like, I mean, I stand on the fact that a lot of people are gonna die in the last 6 episodes of the show. Yes. I don't think I'll be wrong with that. Maybe I will, and I'll eat crow, and everyone can come yell at me and say I'm stupid and I don't know how to interpret media. Oh. Maybe I'm dumb, but okay. I think a lot of people are gonna die. But I don't want to say any like, I'm not gonna come here and say like Luthen's definitely gonna die, Bix is definitely gonna die. Like I'm not gonna go in with that. Like with any one character. I think there's a strong chance Bix doesn't make it out of this episode, out of this series. I hope it's not true. She deserves it. I mean, all these characters deserve it, frankly. Yes. But except maybe Deidre. Cyril.
That I don't know how that's gonna go, and I'm like, I'll just wait. I don't want to say like I hope Deidre and them die or like I'm just gonna be like, you know what, whatever happens to them happens to them.
But I would love for her to make it out of the show. I also think they could. I don't know. The thing is like Cassian in Rogue One to me gives this impression, and he says it. He says like he's given everything. He gives the impression of someone who has no one except for K2. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, are we gonna lose Bix and Will and potentially like Luthen to build the Cassian that we know? Because it's, as much as there's all these characters and all these moving parts, the show's called Andor. It's about Cassian's journey, and it's, what has to happen to build him into the Cassian we meet in Rogue One. And because right now when Luthen calls him on it, when Cassian goes to the shop, he's not all the way in. He's very committed. He's doing the missions. He's doing stuff, but he's not willingly sacrificing necessarily. And it's, you can decide whether or not you think he has to be committed. Clearly Luthen thinks he does. But like how does he get to that person in Rogue One? It's interesting. I totally forgot until I said it just now. We're gonna get K2 SO in this show.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Poor Gort.
I don't know. I wonder if he'll be in the next episode. I think he's gonna be in the finale 3. I don't know if we'll get him in the next 3, unless he's on Gorman. Not sure.
I have no idea. I feel like they just have so much to do. So
yeah, and
kinda...
you know, they can pack these episodes. It's a very dense show, you know. So I know they can do it. I'm just curious to see how it all shakes down and how it leads into Rogue One. My plan, I don't know if I said this in the podcast. Here's my crazy plan. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so hold on. I have to check my calendar real quick so I can make sure. So May 13th, 6 o'clock, Andor finale comes out. I sit down, I watch the Andor finale. Andor ends. Probably gonna cry. Then, boom, Rogue One. All right? Rogue One ends. The way I see that film has been changed forever because of Andor. Because I haven't watched that since before Andor came out. All right? So, Andor finale. Boom. Rogue One. Boom. A New Hope. And then it's really late and I go to bed. That's the plan. That's the grand plan. And maybe. Oh, I don't have it in California. It's in Pennsylvania. I was going to make Death Star cookies, but I don't have my cookie cutter. It's in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
But I
Well,
was also going to make Death Star cookies, which I guess not, and Chandrillin squigs from Andor Season 1.
you could still make Death Star cookies.
Yeah, but I have to make it myself. I can't just stamp it. I'm lazy.
Well, I could give you, I have circular cookie cutters. You could it would be very simple, but you could just circle it out and then just do a little circle in the side.
I'm not sure what you're not getting here. I'm lazy.
Oh. Fair
You
enough.
understand?
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's only you. Just do 3 cookies.
Yes. But that's my grand plan for Andor finale.
That sounds like a pretty good plan. What day is... You said the 16th?
13th?
13th.
And yes. Tuesday the 13th of May.
13th. Tuesday. I don't have my schedule yet, but I'm hoping that I would...
See, that's the other thing. If I work really early Wednesday morning, that might be a problem. But anything for Star Wars.
Yeah. Then I hopefully will be able to watch it with my fam. And I'm sure Dad will probably also want to watch Rogue One after. That'll be cool. Sad, but cool. I'll probably cry a lot.
Exactly. But yeah, so next week we got Gorman Massacre. Awesome. I know a lot of reviewers have said that the episodes 7 through 9 are their favorites, which is tomorrow. So that's scary, but very exciting.
Yeah. What's your favorite episode so far?
Ooh, single episode. I don't know. Of this season, probably either 3 or 6. Arc, I think definitely 1 through 3. Not a knock against 4 through 6. They were just much more setting up for what this big event happening next week. Which doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they don't I think 1 through 3 stood really well on solid legs by themselves.
Yeah, I liked 1 through 6 just because oh sorry, dummy. 1 through 3
Because it's just like, again, there's like so many different things happening that I thought it was interesting because I was like, you know, Mothma is still going through it as a rebel, but her and Vel are going through it like in a drastically different way than like how, you know, Cassian's going through it
Yeah.
and actually doing stuff. So I don't know. I like that dynamic and I think that's kind of cool. It was the same thing with like, you know, I think my favorite it was it 6, right? No. Yes. With Luthen going to that party and they were like looking at
Yeah.
the artifacts and stuff. Yeah. I think that one's my favorite just because, you know, it was Cassian being angry at Luthen and like
Mhm.
kind of rightfully so, but like they both just have good reasons and then it's just like Bix gets her revenge and so I think 6 is my favorite right now.
Yeah, it's
Very
interesting. Like
satisfying.
it's all like kind of equally important to the rebellion too, even if they're fighting
Yeah.
in different ways. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you need the people on the ground like Cassian or nothing happens. But also Cassian can't do his job without the money and the cover that like
Yeah.
Mothma and Luthen are providing. Um so it has to be a symbiotic relationship. And that's where again I think Saw becomes the uneven puzzle piece where he doesn't see the value in the way Mon Mothma fights.
Yeah.
And sometimes his anger is can be righteous. I think Mothma's arc in this book, as well as in the Reign of the Empire, in this show, as well as with the book Reign of the Empire: Mask of Fear, where she takes a little longer to get to the same point where like Mothma or Bail do, but also like she's so vital. Like out of all the big rebellion leaders in the early days, she's the one that sees it through. Like she is so vital to forming and guiding the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, as much as like you need the people in the ships and with the blasters, if they need to buy the ships and the blasters,
Yeah.
and so it's really fun.
Yeah. No, it's totally great. I just like seeing that. It's really cool.
Yes. I'm also curious to see because we don't really see them like interact directly, but we know that Mothma and Cassian work together on Yavin, and those are two characters that haven't met, and really, they don't seem to know about each other at this point. Like obviously
Mm-hmm.
Luthen's working with Cassian, but Luthen's very cautious. I don't think he's going to Mothma and being like, yes, like my friend Cassian, he's in the safe house and he just did this. Like, that's not the way they work. And I'm curious to see, like, because Cassian didn't want anything to do with Gorman after he met the Gorman front, and so I wonder if he's going to be at the massacre, or if he's going to be the one on Coruscant who evacuates Mothma and gives her to the Ghost Crew to get her to Yavin. I'm so interested. What's going to happen? I don't know.
Yo no say nada.
I'm excited to see how it all shakes down. Is Saw gonna be involved? Who's gonna be there? Who's gonna die? Who's gonna live? What's gonna happen? We don't know.
I have no idea, but I'm excited for it when we get to see it. And then I'll probably fall behind because I'm like that, and having all these shows and everything come out all at once is overwhelming for me.
That's okay. Sorry, we can wrap up here soon because it's a very long episode. But one more thing, I really want to see Mothma's speech that got her kicked out of the Senate.
I think we'll definitely see that for sure.
Tiny snippet of it in Rebels, like through a hologram.
I don't think there's a way that we can't get that or won't get that.
I know. I just have to say it. I know we're gonna get it. I
Yeah.
have to say it. I want to see it so bad. I want
Just
to
the
see her slay.
absolute
I want to
diss.
see her slay so hard with simply her words that she gets kicked out of the government.
Yeah, and now she doesn't even really need to worry about her daughter. Her daughter's gone now, so it's just kind of like her
Rosemary
like
goes out of the
jerk
way.
husband that's like,
Aaron,
oh,
he wasn't so
he's
bad these past couple episodes.
well, I feel like it's right now just because the daughter's not there. The only reason he was a jerk was because he kept putting the daughter against Mothma a lot
Yeah,
and
that was the
instigating
only
those
reason he was a
fights.
jerk. But yeah,
Well, yeah, but like that was a big reason he was a jerk. Um, it was just like
yeah,
the
he was
kid being like, "Well, dad," and I'm like, "Oh my god, okay." So now the kid's out of the picture, thankfully. Like not great because it's a child, but getting married. But hey, that's what she wanted.
I
Go
hope
for it.
she and her thankfully same age husband are getting along. I hope they're getting along.
I don't.
Yeah, Perrin is. You don't hope they're getting along?
No,
Why?
because I don't like either of them.
Okay. Well,
I hope the
what
worst
did
for
the
her.
boy do? He didn't do anything. His dad's a jerk, but the boy
I
didn't do
hate
anything.
them all.
Okay. Okay.
The apple probably doesn't fall very far from the tree.
That's true. That's true.
He didn't even want to hold her hand.
He's also a
Not
child.
actually. Yeah, I know.
Anyway, yeah, but Perrin was like, I don't know. Like, I did enjoy him kind of like commiserating with Mothma how they both don't want to go to these like stupid dinners and parties. Because he was the one in season 1 who's like, yeah, we gotta invite Sly Moore over for dinner. Sly Moore is fun. Gotta have a little party.
Dude, it was so funny
but
though.
he's like commiserating, and and he was like, he didn't really say anything, but he was kind of like, he was standing with her when she was arguing Krennic. I was like, all right, Perrin.
You didn't tell her to tell her to stop or like anything.
Like, all right, I see you. I see you.
I thought it was funnier, like, and this was 1 through 3, but like when they're at the wedding and he's like, "Yeah, your boyfriend," and Mothma's like, "Who's my boyfriend?" Because it just reminded me of my parents. Because like it's horrible.
Yeah.
But my mom, like jokingly, of course. But like my dad will get a text from someone that's like clearly just a Star Wars person. And my mom's like, "Who's that? Who's your girlfriend? Who is she? What is she doing?" And my dad's like, "It's Hawes." And then she's like, "Well, why are you talking to your boyfriend? Your wife is right here." It's funny. It's funny. And then I was like, "Oh no," like cuz I thought he actually like suspected something bad between her and her then friend. And then he was like, "Yeah, his wife is gone and stuff, so now like go ahead." And I was like, "Oh, this is somehow better than what I was thinking was going to happen." So that was funny to me.
It's interesting too. It reminds me of how in the books, Mothma, like, whenever she's like in really big trouble, she just like pretends to have an affair to get out of it. It's only happened twice. It's just like, that's a weird about. It's like, is this about a nickel for every time? 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot. It happened twice. Because it happens in both Leia, Princess of Alderaan, and Mask of Fear, where it's like she's doing rebel stuff, and someone gets a little bit too close to the truth, and they're like, "Why are you hanging out with this guy so much? Why are you hanging out with Bail Organa so much?" And she's like, "Oh well, I have an affair." Everyone's like, "Oh, my bad, sorry."
Oh yeah, we saw Bail in this episode very briefly, but like very cool.
Played by Benjamin Bratt, because Jimmy Smits wasn't available. Which I love Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, but Benjamin Bratt is a really great actor. And I'm excited to see like his take on Bail. Just in that brief little interaction we had, I think he nailed the charisma and the warmth behind Bail's character. And I'm interested to see, because we know we're going to get more of him in these next couple episodes. And so I'm interested to see how he fits into Andor, because like Bail Organa like I said, he's this very warm character. He's very charismatic, but he's very much an idealist. We see a lot of that in Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear.
Sorry.
Where he's, you know, he's an idealist. I won't spoil that book, but please read it. It's so good. Bail Organa's so good in that book. But he's really, you know, in that, and we see like he's this very good, like deeply good character. You know, like he's not. I don't think, and obviously his relationship with Leia is very different than Mon's with Leda. But like he's not someone who would ever give up, would ever sacrifice Leia the way that Mon did with Leda. And I'm curious to see how someone so kind and idealistic fits into a show where that is tested so much, you know? And I'm really excited for that. I also think I love his relationship with Mon and how that friendship that grows over the course of building the rebellion. And obviously I don't know how much we're gonna talk about in the show, but like their mutual love and respect for Padme, and the fact that, you know, his life is a foil to hers in a sense, where like he's in the rebellion with his wife and daughter. Mon's husband and daughter are against her in this, and that like tension there. And I'm really excited to see him. And plus, Bail always has very slay outfits. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Except in Rebels, he did not slay in Rebels. I'm sorry. But he was like he was trying to like keep it low key, so not his fault.
Yeah. Bail's just top 10.
He's such a great character. And like I said, I'm looking forward to, because I think, I could be wrong, but I think Jimmy Smits voiced him in Clone Wars and Rebels as well. I could be wrong about that. I'm actually gonna look it up right now. So like it'll be fun to see. JK, he was voiced by Phil Lamar in Clone Wars. I lied. Was it, who
the heck?
Did Phil Lamar voice him in Rebels too? Oh, yes. He was voiced by Phil Lamar. Okay, so Phil Lamar and Jimmy Smits have both played Bail Organa. But I'm excited to see him, like another person get a crack at it. And get to interpret this character. You know, obviously, like, love Jimmy Smits, would have loved to have him back. But if the choice was between either no Bail Organa or different actor Bail Organa, I'm glad they went with still including Bail Organa. You know.
See.
Yes.
I'm not ready for this at the end.
I know, it would be really sad to let Andor go, but we still got 2 weeks.
Still.
Don't grieve yet. We still got time.
Yeah, that's true. Celebrate. Maybe I make the Death Star cookies over here, and then I give them to you.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Okie dokie.
But yeah, that was a very long episode. Under episodes 4 through 6. I cannot wait for the next ones and the ones after that. And then I'm hoping once the show, not to be that person, I'm hoping once the show ends, because we do have these year-long gaps between stories.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, you know, Star Wars Publishing comes through. Give me a couple books. Give me a couple comics. Little Cinta. Give me some Cinta. She said she had an accident. I want to know what it was.
Yeah, okay? I hope for sure Cinta. At least.
Cinta. Please. But like I think it does leave like room for other storytelling to come in. We're getting the Reign of the Empire trilogy, which might cover some of that ground when it comes to Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera and Bail Organa. But like, I want to see a little bit of what like Bix might be up to between arcs. You know what? You know, a little bit of what Val is doing, what Cinta Kaz is doing. Who else is in this show? I don't know. Tons of people. But yeah, I'm excited. Got more Andor tomorrow on Revenge of the Sixth.
Yippee!
Do you do Revenge of the Fifth or Revenge of the Sixth?
I feel like Revenge of the Sixth sounds better.
Yeah, I feel like it sounds better. I think people need to be patient. Like, give a day. Also, like, let Cinco de Mayo have a day, you know?
Nah,
let it get in
who
there.
likes
Let it get in
Mexicans? No one.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. But, like, you know, like,
yeah,
I'm trying to step on
think carefully.
I don't know what I'm trying to step on Cinco de Mayo's toes or Revenge of the Fifth. Like, just be patient. Give Cinco de Mayo their day. You know, grab a couple tacos or whatever, and then do Revenge of the Sixth because it sounds way better. All right? I know patience is not the way of the Sith. I get that. But, like, come on. Sometimes you gotta hold out for better things, you know?
I was gonna say something. No, I'm gonna say it. I was like, you know, Sith aren't racist. And I was like, no, that's not entirely true.
I mean, I don't think you have to be racist to be a Sith. Like, I don't think they wrote that down. But
it's a requirement.
List of requirements. The job listing for being Sith is like wear lots of black, be really angry, and be racist. That's the list. That's what you gotta do. But I mean, like the Empire is spearheaded by Sith, and you know.
Yeah. Anyway.
But you know, Palpatine. Let's be honest. Palpatine the racist. He might have some aliens working for him, but like he basically he's basically like, I don't know. He gives me the vibes of like he calls Thrawn into his office and he's like, "You're one of the good ones." You know what I mean? Like that's
Are you racist if you hate every single person though? Like you just hate everyone?
I mean,
you,
I
like,
don't
only
think it
care
has
about
to
yourself?
be about. Like, I don't think it has to be about hate. Like, you can hate, like, he can hate other humans and still think humans are better than aliens.
I guess so.
You know?
Wait, that should be our poll. Is Palpatine racist?
But, segue, speaking of polls, that's not our poll right now, but you can vote on StarWarsGeek.com for what news had you the most excited coming out of Star Wars Celebration. So vote for that if you want to. And also you can find my writing on there. We recently had, I don't know why, but like the links to blog posts just like stopped working. I couldn't figure it out. And I was talking to like because of course none of these websites let you talk to a real person anymore. You have to talk to like a little chat bot. And the chat bot was like, delete your blog and put it back. I was like, okay. And that worked. So props to the chat bot. All right. That one did work. And so the links should work now because we got like 3. Because it like I found this issue like right before I left for Celebration. And I was like, I don't have time for this. I gotta fly to Japan tomorrow. And so I didn't deal with it. And then I got like 3 emails. People were like, I'm trying to read your blog post and it doesn't work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'll fix it. So it's fixed. If it's fixed. Thank you to the people who did let us know. I appreciate it. That it's fixed. You can read things now. I write things. I just posted a book review I was like, when I get back from Japan, I'm gonna write this and this and this and this. And I got back from Japan, and I was like, I need to sleep and eat. I need to eat. So I will write more things, I promise. I just didn't get the head start I was planning on. I looked at my to-do list the day after Japan. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. we're gonna sleep.
Fair enough.
Yes. So there's that. Stay tuned for more podcasts from us as well. We're obviously going to talk about Andor when that's coming out. We have to talk about Tales of the Underworld. I want to do a Star Wars Celebration wrap-up podcast as well. Let's do that. I still want to podcast about the audiobooks with your dad. We've got to talk about Star Wars Fortnite at some point too.
Oh yes, we should stream too.
We should stream. We should talk about Star Wars Fortnite when streaming. Star Wars Fortnite, guys. Star Wars Fortnite's really fun.
It's so First of all, I watched Tales of the Underworld in Star Wars Fortnite.
I also did.
That was so funny though. Especially because my dad didn't know that you could be in a private match or create a private lobby. So at first he was just in these public ones,
and he was grittying and shooting.
Yeah, he was like, besides from some dance moves I can hear, it's pretty good. And I'm like, Dad. Then thankfully someone told him that he could do a private. So yeah.
I mean, now it's out, so you don't need to watch it.
Yeah, but then.
Yeah. Also, fun Star Wars news, guys. If you know someone who hasn't watched Star Wars Rebels, they're putting it on YouTube now, so they don't have an excuse. And if you don't know someone who watched Star Wars Rebels, you need to force them. Yeah, they're post on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel. They're posting an episode of Rebels weekly on Fridays, I think.
Interesting.
So
very cool.
If you know someone who hasn't watched Rebels, you can now put the gun to their head.
Yeah.
That's what Rebels is worth, I think.
Guns.
Exactly. That's what I learned from Rebels. Hera points a gun at someone, and they do what she wants. So I think that's the lesson of the show, right?
Yeah, that's what all kids should learn from that show.
Yeah, that's what that was the intention. I think that was the message they were.
That's what Dave wanted.
That's what Dave wanted. You can get your way with guns. That's the thesis of Star Wars. It's definitely not the mindset of the dark side or anything like that. That is the thesis.
Guns.
I mean, that's what I'm learning from Andor, I think. Except if someone tells you don't have a gun, then don't have one.
Yeah. If a cool person like Cinta and Vel are telling you what to do, you listen. That's it.
Literally,
that's the whole thing of that.
Showed up and we're like, do this. I'd be like, yeah, okay. Whatever
Sounds
you say.
Sounds good, queens.
Literally, bro.
But no.
Oh man, Val is such a poor Val, man. Every time she has a team, it doesn't go well, and it's not I don't feel like it's ever her fault.
No.
It's always
really.
Always men.
That's also the lesson is you get your way with guns and don't trust men.
Like when Mon Mothma was at that party, and it's you got Perrin, you got Skulden, you got Kulma. It's okay, get her away from all these men. Except Luthen. Chill. Especially when he's in Hannah Montana mode. He's very chill.
Yes.
But Luthen, yeah. I wonder what Thrawn would think of Luthen. Obviously Luthen would hate Thrawn, but if Luthen was in his art guy mode, you think Thrawn would like him? Thrawn might figure him out.
I was gonna say, I think Thrawn would just know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I interrupted my own plugs to talk nonsense. Instagram, Blue Sky, @SOE Geek Girl, Facebook, Star Wars Geek Girl. Those are the plugs.
The Rogue Rebels plugs, as you can see my dad on Lightsaber Academy, Star Wars Kids. So that's pretty cool. My dad's a Jedi.
Oh my God, he's on the same YouTube channel as Star Wars Rebels. Whoa.
So, and now we have the roguerebels.com, Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels, podcast wherever you're listening to the Star Wars Geek Girl, Facebook page the Rogue Rebels, and Blue Sky the Rogue Rebels fam. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more Andor talk, for some Revenge of the Sixth talk, on the website for some writing and some book reviews. And yes, thank you so much for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
May the Force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.